stand aside and stay silent about this problem. Trumbull County has 12 massage parlors. 10 of them are in Warren. This is not only a Warren problem, however, as we've seen them crop up in Newton Falls and Niles. Consistently, the determining factor on whether a community will tolerate their existence, consistently, the determining factor on whether a community will have massage parlors within their boundaries hinges on whether or not the community will tolerate their existence. If we choose inaction, we can only expect them to continue to spread, and the horrific injustices going on in them to continue. Of course, there are those who doubt that the trafficking of women exists in massage parlors. We know for certain that customers are receiving sexual services, as they gloat about them on countless sex tourism websites across the internet. They've even deemed Warren Asian massage parlor heaven. An estimated 17,500 foreign women and 200,000 American women and girls are trafficked into the sex industry each year. While illegal drug sales are the #1 organized crime activity, human trafficking is tied with the sale of illegal weapons as the most profitable illicit industry. Bradley Miles, who heads the Polaris Project, stated, "The women in the massage parlors are often attracted from foreign countries on the promise of well-paying jobs, then find themselves forced into prostitution. The girls become indentured servants because they live, cook, and sleep there. They come from Korea and Thailand and are in difficult financial positions and end up in the spa." While there are legitimate massage parlors, Miles notes it is difficult to distinguish them from those that are not. But there are telltale signs, he explains, such as the illegitimate ones remaining open for perhaps 24 hours, and they tend to block out the windows. They do that so the women can't see outside, and they're much more clandestine and secretive than a legitimate massage parlor, which doesn't have anything to hide. And these places usually have this kind of buzzer system, where you're not allowed in unless they screen you and you are a male customer. So you can't just walk in the front door like you can in a legitimate massage parlor. Now just imagine believing that you're given the opportunity to have a better life in America, the way my great-grandparents did, and perhaps many of yours, only to have that promise broken and replaced by an unimaginable, terrible reality. This is the nightmare that people in our community are facing. We have a decision to make, whether we will continue to tolerate this outrage or take a stand.
He has become a passionate advocate about this issue and has offered a lot of leadership that way. I'd like to introduce Pastor McDonald, who's going to introduce Attorney General Richard Cordray.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Jean, for your eloquent words about the issue of human trafficking. I love words, and I think we really ought to call human trafficking what it is, which is slavery. And we as United Methodists have been on the forefront of that fight against slavery since the 1800s, and I think in this country we outlawed that, didn't we? And so I think it's time that we give it the attention it needs. My name is David MacDonald. I'm the pastor of Niles First United Methodist Church, and I'm here to introduce one of our first guests this evening from our elected officials. We invited candidates for Attorney General from both parties to our meeting tonight. The only candidate who was willing to accept our invitation was Attorney General Richard Cordray. Richard Cordray was elected Ohio Attorney General in November 2008. He previously served as Ohio Treasurer of State, Franklin County Treasurer, State Representative, and as Ohio's first Solicitor General. Cordray's career has been guided by the spirit of community service and the belief that government should strive to make a positive difference in the lives of its citizens. As State Representative, he sponsored the Ohio Community Service Education Act. An accomplished lawyer, Cordray has argued 7 cases before the United States Supreme Court and taught constitutional law for 13 years at the Ohio State University's Law School. In 2003, he earned the Presidential Service Award from the Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation for his work supporting legal services for the poor. And in 2000, the Human Rights Campaign named him the Humanitarian of the Year for his efforts to promote tolerance and understanding in our communities. As Ohio Treasurer, Richard Cordray managed the state's investment portfolio of about $18 billion. His commitment to cutting costs, enhancing economic development, and promoting financial security among Ohioans earned national recognition in 2008, including the Excellence in Government Leadership Award from the Association of Government Accountants and NeighborWorks America's Government Service Award as the foremost national leader in state government for his work on foreclosure prevention. We would like to welcome the Attorney General Richard Cordray to the podium and thank him for coming to MBOC's Community Congress. Mr. Attorney General, we'll give you some time in a moment to address the audience on your platform and vision for the state, especially as it pertains to urban areas. But first, we'd like to ask you a couple questions, and then give you 2 minutes to respond to each question. Our first question relates to the issue that Jean just spoke about. Will you be one of our honorary co-chairs for a Trumbull County Commission on Human Trafficking, and assign a person from your office to serve on the commission? And how do you believe the issue of massage parlors and human trafficking is best addressed?
Thank you. I will be very happy to do that. One of the first things I did when I became Attorney General in January of 2009 was establish a statewide commission on human trafficking. It was not a subject that I knew a lot about, but it was a subject where the legislature in Ohio had been deadlocked and unable to pass a strong human trafficking law, so they had punted to say that if the Attorney General was interested in forming a commission, he or she could do so. And I did. And we have learned a lot about human trafficking since that time. We've issued now 5 reports from the commission. Among the things that we have been addressing is, first of all, we are working toward a strong Ohio law that would make human trafficking a standalone felony offense, which is important and necessary to accomplish that in the state. And we expect to have that done by the end of this calendar year. That's number 1. Number 2. Let me get all my 2 minutes. Number 2, we need more law enforcement training on human trafficking. They have told us they need that training. They need to be able to distinguish an individual prostitution offense from a situation where someone's in someone's control and they're being manipulated and used and moved from place to place. We have been providing training to law enforcement in Ohio. We've trained hundreds, and it may now be thousands, of local law enforcement officials who told us they needed to know that. We've been prosecuting human trafficking. We joined Operation Cross Country 4 with the U.S. Marshal Service last year, took down several trafficking felons, and also freed a number of victims. We've been looking at victim services and what needs to be done to separate out the people who are victimized and are not themselves criminals from those who are actually the criminals. And there is more for us to do, and I look forward to doing it with you here in Trumbull County as well as across the state. And all of the information I just shared with you is on our website, ohioattorneygeneral.gov.